G'day everyone, and welcome along to this week's edition of the show that for today we're going to call What About the Punters? I'm not sure why I'm talking with my hands, but I am. But there's a lot of rebranding and things happening at the minute, so at the minute we're a bit open to suggestion. If you've got an idea of what this show should be called, tweet in to either Ralphie or myself, or grab us on whichever social media channels you do and let us know what you think we should be called, because there's a bit happening, isn't there?
There is. Obviously, everyone will be aware that the Sydney. Well, a lot of people that watch the show will be aware that since the last Sydney Punters show a couple of months ago, that's disappeared off the face of the earth, and Mark and Glenn have reappeared under a new name. So all of this has had anything to do with us whatsoever, but we've sort of been caught on the fringes of it. So we've got an opportunity to give our show a new name. So as Juppy said, we're looking for suggestions.
And disappointingly, both Potts and Juppy knocked back my idea of three blokes talking shit. So we just need something a little bit higher class than that. And I've decided to rebrand myself as well. I've changed my website from racetrackralphie.com.au to billvlahos.com.au, and I'll see how I go with it.
Good luck with that, Ralph. Boys, it's been a pretty interesting last week or so.
Have you got Olympic fever?
I did yesterday morning. I got up yesterday morning, and the ones that listen to me on the One to Follow Sports Pod,
yes,
would have heard that I tipped the Opals minus 10.5. So I backed that, and Skull as usual. Nathan Snow followed me in, and what happened was the Brazilian team, who were the home team, jumped out to an unbelievable first quarter where they had one player shoot 9 from 9, and they were 6 points in front. At which point, Snowy told me that I had literally no idea what I was doing, and it was a patriotic wagon bet, and he should never have followed me. And of course, they then won by 18 points Australia and covered easily. Beautiful. So hello, Nathan.
Did you go to the Sydney Olympics?
No, I did not.
Did you go to the Sydney Olympics? Yeah. Which one of the events did you go to?
Oh, Jesus. A lot of hockey. If you just on that day of athletics, it was also... Since then, I've lost interest in the Olympics. Yeah. So now I haven't watched a bit so far of this one, and I probably won't watch much, because it's all been tainted. So it's
it's a pure sport like racing.
Yeah.
Hey, and when I went...
It's amazing what can happen if you don't police your sport appropriately, isn't it?
It is amazing, because like boxing, that's done well over the years. Harness racing. Hey, so I had 2 tickets to the semi-finals of the swimming at Sydney. Caught the train in, and Olympic fever, and there's the stadium. And it's with the mate Stephen Phoebe, actually, from a Melbourne star.
Who was on this week's
open
mic.
Job, the boy. So it's the heats. It's the morning heats. So you're there for the experience, not for anyone in particular. We're about to walk in. You want to get a coffee? Yeah, we'll get a coffee. So grab the coffee, and we're in there waiting for coffee just outside, and the crowd's going fucking nuts. Look, one of the Aussies broken a world record or something. It's only the heats. Anyway, take our seats. You should have seen what you missed. It was Eric Deal. Fucking coffee, so we missed a lot. But I reckon it's lost a bit of it.
It has. Speaking of the trots though, Ralph, there was a great initiative yesterday. It was Redwood Day at Maryborough yesterday, and another friend of the show, Craig Knott, who we talk to reasonably regularly, and he's a very good man. He helped with a marketing strategy that HRV had, which was the Redwood Rattler, where they organised a semi-vintage train to pick everyone up at Spencer Street and take them up to the Redwood for the day, and then on the way home, and David Brick, who's the CEO there, they did a huge job. The train was full, I'm led to believe. Judging by the pictures, there was a big crowd there at Maryborough, and there was, I think, nearly 20,000 in the Punters Club pool. So it was a big day, and so that was yesterday. And we had the Darwin Cup at the start of the week, and the reports back from there was plenty of money up there. They held at Calcutta at the RSL Club on the Saturday night before the Cup. There was 97,500 in the Calcutta pool, which most of the places you'll hear now, the Calcuttas have got next to nothing in them. So there's a little bit of wagering happening as we starting to get out of the winter.
Darwin Cup?
No,
it's a sensation.
If I was meant to go this year, however, an impending arrival has stopped me from doing that. But it didn't stop me from getting to Sale on Wednesday. Now, there was an interesting story to come out of Sale on Wednesday. As social media would have seen, it lit up afterwards. very good mate of mine and friend of the show, Terry Bailey, the race caller. He made a blue. He called Trinidadian winning when it was in fact the stablemate. So, me being greedy, I was there watching Betfair at the races, and instead of just laying the $1.01, I was there trying to grab the $100 and $11.20 on the winner, and of course that proved unfruitful. So another friend of the show, Mickey Harrick, who's an on-course bookie, he actually went down in the car to sail with Adamo and Terry Bailey. So, as you can imagine, in the car ride on the way home,
touching the flats
a little bit, and Terry does like getting home as quick as he can at the best of times, but he was in a particular hurry there on Wednesday night. Now, Adamo was down to call at Warrnambool on Thursday. Now, who trains Trinidadian?
Bryce Stanaway.
What's one of Bryce's favourite things in the world?
Backing him up 2 days.
Right. Trinidadian was in again on Thursday at Warrnambool.
Really?
So, a rather cheeky Adamo said, now, Terry, I'm just doing the form here for Warrnambool. Do you know anything about this horse, Trinidadian? To which, to his credit, Terry took it in the right way and says, I wonder if it gets a penalty for today's win. Now,
so apart from the narcs, which, whatever, it did surprise me the liquidity of people who bet off a race call.
Correct. And the thing is, because the audio is often ahead of the vision, especially on Sky, and racing.com's the slowest of the lot. Like, I go to the races a lot, so I see one of the biggest advantages you have got of being on course is, if you want to bet in the play, in the run, is that the closed circuit on-course vision will be a good 2.5 to 3 to 4 seconds ahead of Sky, and at least 6 seconds ahead of racing.com.
Which in context for people
which is a furlong, that's 200 metres.
Yeah, it can be up to a furlong,
Well, I was going to say for people who don't really do the times and or new to this, that it's 6 lengths to a second, give or take, 16 metres per second. So that's a significant advantage.
Now, this is something that the industry can learn out of that problem that Terry had on Wednesday. Now, boys, we've seen many, many races where stables have had multiple runners in it. So think of Godolphin in the Melbourne Cup. They might have 4 or 5 runners.
Team Williams.
That's another good example. What do we always know? The highest weighted, so we'll use Godolphin as the example. The highest weighted runner will wear blue cap. The standard set of silks. Second one will wear white. The third one will wear red. The fourth one will wear a black and white check cap. And the fifth one will wear green.
Right.
What happened at Sale on Wednesday is that the owner of one of these walking machines that are owned by, trained by Bryce Stanaway, went to the stewards and said, I believe black, which is the cap that number 10 was meant to wear, I believe this to be very unlucky, and I would like to switch caps with the stablemate. The stewards then said, okay. They sent through a message before the first to Terry, but of course by the time race 6 comes around, you go through and you know the horses, and so in an ideal world, stewards don't let people do that because they're mildly superstitious. Scratch the horse if they want it.
Jumpy, can I just congratulate you for managing within 60 seconds to work in Godolphin and Bryce Stanaway's team?
It seems to be a common problem between the two superior training complexes.
The people that have had the biggest, probably the biggest punting weeks of the year, if there are any.
Oh yeah,
are the followers of the Stanaway stable. Honestly, I haven't gone through a list of them all, but if anyone was backing the Stanaway runners this week, you have had the biggest week of all time. There's been.
Would you be starting with a big bank if you're a heavy Stanaway follower?
You would have had to be very patient. But honestly, the last week, which is, I think, you've got to look at what might be behind it. And he does back his horses up, races them a lot. They were very fit, and they struck a lot of testing tracks, and they were winning at. There was might have been a 100 to 1 winner, 2 at 50s, another one at 30s, another one at 10s.
One thing I know, Pots, is after those string of winners, there'll be sandwiches all around.
Is there a chance that behind Mackay Dean and Crafty Cruiser might be the second most talented stable soon?
I'm not going to make a comment on it. Anyway, listen, I just want to say that the Terry Bailey, the race caller, honestly, Terry, it's not a. It's so far down the pecking order of errors, mate. Just brush it off and move. I know you will, but you weren't even the biggest mistake maker of the Terry Bailey category for the week. Terry Bailey, the stewards have outstripped you by a long way, Terry.
Why is that?
A long way. Okay. The very well-named Armed and Dangerous.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Made its debut at Sandown in a 1,000-metre race, which is a very gentle elbow turn, right? That horse had incredible trouble getting around the 1,000-metre turn at Sandown. Where it still had hung 4 horses at Sandown and destroyed any chance it had in that race on debut, okay? So then it was, the stewards gave that a pass and allowed the horse to nominate for a shoot start race at Caulfield, which, fair enough, you might say, let's have another look at this horse. So it led at Sandown, took out half the field in that race by hanging out at least 7 or 8 horses, and to our dismay, Juppie ran 4th when we'd taken $26 a place. The horse has got talent, but it just can't get around the bend. Again, the stewards gave that horse a pass and didn't send it back to the trials. And inexplicably, the powers that be at Racing Victoria, so whether this is... So Bernard Saundra, you've got to take the initial part of the blame, because it's your team that allowed this to happen. So then it might be Greg Carpenter's team. It could be... I'm not sure who's involved in all
I
this.
don't know if the executive general manager of wagering is actually.
But I'm saying that they're accepting a nomination. Okay, how the trainer nominated for a so after you've got this horse that can't get round a bend, you nominate that the trainer nominates the horse on a track that's got the sharpest corner in metropolitan Melbourne.
What could go?
Sandown Lakeside, what could go? 2 really sharp corners and a downhill run. Like it's just then the horse. So you accept the nomination. Then the horse draws barrier 1. The minute I picked up the fields for Sandown, I went, oh, this is going to be interesting. There's going to be carnage here at 8 o'clock in the morning. I wrote in my comments. This horse has got talent, but Bo Mertz is going to have his hands full getting this horse around this course. It's going to... Luckily, just you're so lucky that the other jockeys in that race seemed to be awake to it. And that horse started to hang off before it even got to the turn. And the other jockeys somehow managed to avoid it. It's a miracle that horse didn't take half the field down.
Did he still get 10th? Did he get his 10th prize money?
Probably. Anyway, I just think that is the most. I can't really find the right words for how. I'm not sure if it's incompetent or inept.
About the punters? Is that part of what about the punters?
Well, we're just about Terry, so I'm just saying that because it's a stewards thing. I'm just saying that it's such an obvious and huge mistake, and you must be too busy at Cobalt hearings or counting whip strikes or pulling Benny Allen in over a nonsense issue or whatever.
Well, you didn't have to worry about whip strikes on Armed and Dangerous because it was like walking through the corridor in the betting ring at that stage. Anyway, it was that wide.
Surely we won't see that horse again until it's ever straightened out its manners. So.
Potts, after Wednesday, on Thursday we went out and walked Flemington. We ran into Mick Goody.
You did, well, Mick saw us out there, pulled up and...
Good man.
Great man, and he was kind enough to spend like a good 45 minutes talking to us, giving us all sorts of valuable information. Well, as I said previously, all the track managers have been fantastic. I think they like, punters that have got a voice to come out and get some first-hand understanding of the track, so that they can, put good, solid information out into the marketplace.
So, Potts, were you invited out for lunch by the VRC, or did you just think it was professional enough for your work to go out there of your own volition?
I've walked the track for every metropolitan meeting in Melbourne for the last 8 weeks.
Oh,
just which I had some.
Yep. I
didn't get a free lunch. No,
I'm trying to. That's part of being.
I'm trying to find an edge to bet with.
Yeah. So what a mix up.
Well, we normally go and work up an appetite for lunch, though.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So there is.
So what was
the disappointing part for me? Well, before we get on the mix, the disappointing part to me about walking the tracks is that the more I walk them, the more evidence becoming to me how few jockeys do their homework. In the early races, they're just not awake to what's going to happen. They haven't figured it out. Like, there was a lane there on Saturday at Flemington that was going to be best, and it's the exact lane that the Dean Lass landed on by accident, really. And Pilot to say spent some time in it.
Did anyone not think that would be the fastest lane? Any punter with any brain in their head not think that would be the fastest lane at the start of the day? As it always is when the rail's at 7? What I'm saying is, it played typically. Yeah. So if a jockey didn't look for that, the jockey's not doing his own, sure.
I mean, a lot of jockeys steered away from it or not towards it. It was just, you know what I mean? So then you sort of got to... And then on Sunday it was even more evident that you because of the aeration work they did on the meeting that was cancelled, the ground on the turning part of the track is 2 ratings about 2 ratings worse than the straight. So the horses that travel through, that get through that first, have got a massive advantage. So that's why the on-paces dominated there yesterday. And for instance, Michael Walker on Majestic Lass, Michael, I don't know what your excuses are, mate, for riding that horse the way you did. There's no explanation for it.
Hang on.
No,
there is. There is. So
let's
I was
hear
on Majestic Lass.
let's hear the stewards.
I was on Majestic Lass, and pre-race, when we do our work, we back our knowledge, but we also try and get a feel for what the market's going to do.
Yeah.
If you do your work properly and you're actually accountable with what you put out, rather than just guessing 10-9 shot that wins every 11 times. So, for instance, Mossendale, you liked it, didn't you?
Yep.
So in the morning, the markets had Mossendale and Pale and Prince. Was it Pale and Prince, or was Johnny McCardle's horse? Johnny McCardle's horse was Pale and Prince. I'm not sure if it was.
No.
Anyway,
It's close.
Johnny McCardle's horse.
Mackay Prince.
Mackay Prince. They were both $3.20.
Yeah.
And Long Kiss Goodnight was about 7s.
Yeah.
And you looked at it and you said, well, Mackay Prince is fairly slow, but it will lead, and Mossendale's come from fast races. So what's the market probably going to come for? So Mackay Prince got out to what, 9s?
Yeah.
Ran it quickly, busted open, and Long Kiss Goodnight ran well, and something in between them. So in other words, the track played typically to how we expected it, and fast horses were rewarded.
Yes.
Hence Majestic Lass that came off a super time at Caulfield.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, they're probably going to back this. People who do their form smart.
Yeah.
And there it was, threes out to as much as $5 on Betfair pre-race. So I'm thinking, what the fuck is happening here? And then really, by the time I started, there was still lots of mid-fullers. Potts, I don't know about you, but what does my head in more than anything in this caper is when, and you, Juppy, there's big Betfair riders,
Yes.
and then a horse gets ridden as negatively as the Betfair rider said it would.
Yeah.
Now that horse, Majestic Lass, off a strong time, was poison in the market.
Yeah. it
And
was
then
like-
after 200 metres, what was happening?
Well, he jumped in front. He was on the horse with a significant talent edge in the race. And I just want to point out that I won on the race. I back refused to lose, so I'm not...
Because
so
it's
I'm
a
not-
fast horse.
Yeah, I knew it was going to lose, so I just
That's
backed
it.
it on that basis. It would have taken very little use of energy for Majestic Lass to just come across and race on pace. Whether she sat 3 wide or... There were just so many options for her. And because it drew wide, Michael Walker had several options. He chose the only option that gave him no chance. He fought the horse for 600 metres. Okay, there were 3 1200 metre races there yesterday. It was by far the slowest overall time, with significantly the quickest last 600. So there's no. So the only explanation for what Michael did, one is incompetence, or 2 is, instructions, I suppose. Riding to
So
instructions.
let me read you the steward's report, which we haven't seen, which I asked you before. Majestic Lass, when questioned regarding the tactics adopted early, rider Michael Walker explained that in discussions with connections prior to the race, it was agreed from the awkward draw. Why is it a fucking awkward draw just because you're wide? Can someone explain that to me? It's not an awkward draw, it's a wide draw.
Yeah. Was it
But, so,
Tim Hall's
so
field?
that's the starting point. Shit is being written down
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
like it's Hansen,
Yeah.
right? So, to come out neutral on the horse, what's neutral mean? Someone explain to me, what does neutral mean? Right,
No, he's not going to give it a squeeze.
right.
Fair
So in
enough.
actual fact, so the starting point is, there's 2 factual incorrects here in the steward's report. The people who are charged with the integrity of racing. One is that a wide draw is an awkward draw, which it isn't. How many times have we said it's an
No.
advantage if you've got pace, which Majestic Lass has? The second part was to come out neutral on the horse. Well, he fought the horse. He didn't come out neutral.
Fought the horse for 600 metres.
So to come out neutral is to say the horse will take me where
Yeah. It'll position where it's
natural
comfortable
pace.
in its rhythm. Yeah.
Well, it was restrained.
It should have been in the first 4.
So it didn't come out neutral. As although it did not eventuate, there appeared to be a number of runners with early speed on paper. Now
There was
that again,
one runner.
one, possibly 2. I had a look afterwards because I thought, how fucking stupid is this? Okay. So Refuse to Lose was always going to get the easiest lead of all time. There was one horse that's not fast, lots, but one that's gone forward. So you could think. So whoever gave the stable that instructions, or whoever at the stable think that's instructions, learn your caper, because you're fucking wrong.
Yeah. That's the
This is
strength.
not-
You're wrong. The tactics were wrong.
And I mentioned this about Adam Spencer. He's got a maths book out. I was just listening to a podcast.
But the tactics they're unprofessional. It's unprofessional.
But the difference between English and maths, English or a movie, let's say, or a book. I like it a bit, you like it a bit more, you like it a bit less. Maths, you're right or you're wrong. There's no in between.
It's not open to interpretation.
Wrong. So, did not eventuate. There appeared to be a number of runners with early speed on paper. Well, there wasn't. There was one and another one that went forward. And settled further back in the field once this decision was made to obtain cover. Now, did you see a tactical announcement? I didn't, because it was fast at Caulfield.
Can I just say to you, the only two other horses that were possibly, they'd never gone above benchmark in their life in the first section of the race. I had them at both 2.5 lengths below, with the two horses drawn outside you. So you had control of that. Okay, if they wanted to go fast, you could have slid across and let them go around you. But you just, that's not, there was nothing drawn underneath you apart from refuse to lose.
I might follow up here. I might shoot Stuart's an email, or if I see him during the week, I'll ask one of them. With the two meetings on the weekend, I wonder if Andre Casse, who normally does, his maps are normally pretty reasonable. And if you guys have both done maps and you've said, this is where you had going forward, and then they've come out and said, no, we didn't have that horse mapping that way, maybe someone else did, and if that's the case, then that person needs to be looked at.
But Juppy, before I finish this off, let me get back to what was said previously. There's maps and then there's speed.
True.
Right? The Majestic Lass was the second fastest early horse in the race, and clearly the best talent in the race.
Yeah.
So that's just inarguable, because what we do is figures. What you do is look at a grid. Stable representative Mr. Bruno Roucherette confirmed the pre-race instructions that the difficulty they had in deciding on the appropriate tactics was the awkward barrier draw. It's not fucking awkward, it's wide. It's not awkward. In fact, it's an advantage. If you got talent, that horse had talent. He added in hindsight, they may have been better served by going forward, given the slow early tempo, and the stable plan to step the mare up 1400 next start, which should see her much closer to the pace. So let's peel back what that all means, because that's all that's written about it.
Yeah.
The stewards then have accepted that a shit ride is okay.
As long as you've got an excuse to back it up.
No, as long as the stable is in lockstep with your shit tactics that the rider employed. So what they're saying is it's fine to give a horse no mathematical chance of winning, and as we've said before, the three of us could beat Usain Bolt over 100 if he walked for the first 80 metres and we were sprinting. So if you go back far enough, when the leaders get an easy enough lead, you give yourself no mathematical chance of winning. And even though there was nothing nefarious about the tactics, and I'll get to about the market drift, they gave the horse no mathematical chance of winning for the punters. And the stewards have gone, well, the trainer agreed that that's what the instructions were, so play on. It's not fucking good enough. We're a wagering sport. And that, to me, is something the stewards have to improve on. It's all right to tell Pat Bartley to go and do a nice story about your data room, but ultimately we're the people at the coal face. And if we don't believe you, you can put it in the Age, which no one reads anymore and is about to go online anyway, or you can actually try and get the respect of people who are actually punters, who are the industry customers. And what happened yesterday really gets my goat. Pops?
Yeah, look, well, let's be constructive. So Michael Walker, any other jockeys out there, jockey managers, if you're time poor and you haven't got time to do your homework and walk the track and get some idea of where the advantage is and how it's going to play, and if you haven't got time to do proper professional maps and have an understanding of what you're up against in the race, contact either me or Juppy and we'll see if we can work something out.
Well, let's.
But can I just say, on the other side of the coin, can I just say, a young kid like Bo Mertens, it's very obvious to me that boy is doing his homework. He keeps finding the right lane on horses. He is riding in unbelievable form, particularly at Sandown. The kid is just, congratulations to Bo. He is riding as well as anyone in Melbourne right at the moment.
Sorry, I just want to finish off that point about Majestic Lass. So, given I will take on face value that there was nothing nefarious nothing illegal going on, but what the market drift told you, Potts and Juppy,
was that it was probably going to go back.
The market drift told you it was going to go back. So again, to the people charged with the integrity of the sport, it doesn't just stop at the feed tin. The market was screaming at you, this horse was going to be ridden negatively with shit tactics. And what happened? It was ridden negatively with shit tactics. So people who were with her and our subscribers or followers or whatever else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if no one backed it. The point being, that horse was given no chance of winning with those tactics that were inept. And you cannot tell me that that is good for a wagering sport where that happens, and that when you let it go just because the stable happened to give those shit tactics.
I'm saying because of the tactics, other things went wrong in the race. With used a lot of energy
they-
unnecessarily. It got pushed off on the turn. It was wider than it should. Even with all that considered, the market was still saying even if you do all these crazy things,
That's the
you're
other
still
point.
you're still a 4-to-1 chance of winning the race. And I defy anyone to watch the replay of that race and not obviously point out, turn the volume off, just watch the race and go, oh, there's the most talented horse in this race.
Yeah.
It sticks out like a.
Well, I got a similar thing with my infamous United States spray in Moonee Valley when Damien Lane did the same thing, and that's the point. It's not about the personalities involved. No. It's not about saying that anything was hooked. We're not, in both these cases, I'm saying neither were. What I am saying, though, is stewards shouldn't let that go when inept tactics happen.
Yeah.
Because they should be accountable.
Yeah. Sorry.